Going to call this meeting to order of the Pikes Library District Board of Trustees at 5:01. All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we're going to start with a welcome to the Penrose Library by Tequila. Good afternoon.
Maybe it needs to go higher. Hey.
We didn't turn it on.
Afternoon. I'm Takia Jemison, the branch manager here, and I'm excited to welcome you, the board, to Penrose Library after I completed our second phase of our safety renovations. These improvements reflect our commitment to making the library a safe, welcoming, and accessible space for everyone in our community. One of our most noticeable changes includes the 2 additional service desks, one at our east entrance and one at our west entrance. This not only helps to create a smoother flow of traffic entering and exiting the building, but it also ensures that our patrons are greeted upon entering by staff. Our computer lab now features new study carrels with 26 desktops and additional seating for patrons to have privacy. Also, Penrose is the pilot location for Chrome kiosks. We've added 30 additional Chromebooks to our Take offerings, which allow patrons to have more access to digital resources. Another big highlight in the renovation is our children's area. It's now a fully enclosed space. This space offers a dedicated environment that families can enjoy. The shelving has been lowered so that our youngest patrons can easily reach books and materials. And on top of that, we also have a beautiful mural that was painted by a Colorado artist named Amanda Stadivas. I've already heard from many of the patrons saying that the library currently feels safer and is more inviting, especially for families with young children. I have seen also a rise in attendance in our programming, which includes our baby times, toddler times, and story times. I want to take a moment to thank our incredible team that made all of this possible. It's Michael Bradner, Tess Warren, the security team, Scott Dunkley, DQ, the facilities crew, Dan Stone, Justin Philbrick, the IT team, Denise Abbott, Abby Simpson, and the communications department. I would also like to thank the Penrose supervisors, Michael Asmar and Geneva West, the Family and Children's Services librarian, Amanda Fortner, our senior associates, Jasmine Wood and Rachel Watson, and the entire Penrose staff for their hard work, dedication, flexibility, and patience to make this transformation possible. We are so proud of the changes that we made, and even more excited for the experience of our community that we'll have with these new updates and improved at Penrose Library. I would like to invite and make myself available after the board meeting to have Val take a tour and see all the new changes and updates that we've made. Thank you.
Great update.
Good evening. I apologize, it's a little toasty in here. This building has a cooling tower that needs replenished coolant. We've been working with a vendor and it is scheduled for tomorrow, not today, unfortunately. It's been unseasonably warm this April, so when we had that scheduled, as you can imagine, we did not think it was going to be as warm as it's been, but we're getting that fixed tomorrow. So hopefully, anybody who's coming next week it won't be quite as toasty. So again, our apologies. Building quirk, but we have it scheduled your return. Thank you.
I don't know mine. All right, are there any items too late for the agenda? All right, I'll just have to talk louder.
Yes. All right.
You should talk like a teacher. All right, on doors list. All right, if there are no items to leave for the agenda, then we'll move on to public comment. It is 3 minutes per person. Ms. Laura Foster will be giving you the key cards just to let you keep track of your time. I'll let you know when that 3 minutes is over, and then Jeremiah will help you guys navigate who's next.
Yep.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
So I'm gonna announce, just to save us all a little time, 3 at a time. There's 8 total speakers in person. We didn't have any online. So I'll announce 3 at a time until I announce 2 at a time.
Here's an online comment.
Nobody signed up, well, requested, I think 6 times before 5 o'clock, and nobody reached out to me for that. Okay, I'm sorry. So our first 3 are Laura Goins, Alan Goins, and Kat Gale. Just go ahead and go up to that microphone. Logan can help you adjust the type there if needed.
Can I go? Hello, I have lived in the Rock Rimmon area and have paid taxes to Pikes Library District for 30 years. We bought our house knowing that there was a library in this community, whereas, as Dave Donaldson mentioned last month, those fine houses on the east side where the facilities master plan identifies the deficiencies bought their houses knowing a library did not exist. In Matthew 5, verse 39, Jesus says, "Do not resist an evildoer, but if anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also." When you closed our Rock Rimmon Library, it was a slap in the face to those in our community. But here's my dilemma. Even if I turn the other cheek to you and say, slap me again as your equal, I am not your equal. You are our representatives. As a trustee, I have to trust that you are thinking of us. But honestly, I see little, if any, indication of that. I am trying to understand who of you is our community's advocate. Dave Donaldson also asked during last month's meeting for you to reach out to him to discuss what can be done to get a library back on the northwest side. And did any of you reach out to him? If not, it was another slap in the face. I understand fully that you didn't want to lease the Rock Rimmon building, but what have you done since the closure to try and find an alternate solution? It was mentioned last month that the Cause Weeks community reached out last November asking for criteria for a new location in order to help you, and that they have yet to receive that information. It's been 5 months, so another slap. In the facilities master plan, the goals were to maintain size, to not drastically grow or shrink the overall PPLD. Is closing the library to over 50,000 patrons not drastic? Our library had the same percentage of frequency used as the Penrose Library, yet you choose to build a wall around the Penrose Library instead of keeping our library open. Also in the FMP, user density identified a hot spot in Rock Rimmon. It listed our library as quite active, and we were ranked 2nd on the business ranking scale. Yet after a large group of people spoke at the October 2024 Board of Trustees meeting in opposition to closing our library, the president of the board at that time thank you for your input. We are going to do what is best for the county. It was best for the county to close the library. Another slap in the face. At last month's board meeting near the end of the budget discussion, something about using leftover money from a project on one of the other libraries was possibly a garden and a gazebo being built at that location. Now, I don't know if I have that entirely right because it was hard to follow that discussion. So I truly hope I misunderstood that. Because if that's the case, the use of extra funds to build these structures while you closed our library is yet again another slap in the face to those in the Rock Rimmon community. I just want to thank you for your time and for listening. And I hope that you will work with us and Colorado Springs Reads. Thank you.
Start.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my name is Alan Boyce, the other half, is here tonight. I just want to make a few comments. Again, closing rented space that once housed the neighborhood library is one thing. But when you show little or no effort to work with the community in addressing a replacement solution, that is a true disservice to the community and in direct conflict with what you were chartered as a board to do. So I ask you, would you consider forming a community library task force to help you address replacing the closed Rockrimmon Library? This task force could be comprised of 1 or 2 library staff members, local community leaders, and individuals representing a cross-section of the community who you would serve. Meetings could be held at the church currently housing the interim library operated by Colorado Springs Reads. As a representative of Christ the King Lutheran Church, I would be happy to help schedule and arrange for a meeting location at the church. You have my name and my number on the register. Also, on May 10th at 10 a.m. is Colorado Springs Reads grand opening. And I would invite all of you to please attend and see the excitement in our community for the people that come to the church and use the interim library. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kat Gale. I'm the Chief Legal Advisor for Integrity Matters. And we're concerned about the lack of cooperation we're getting in restoring the library. I was cleaning out my father's house this weekend. He passed away a year ago. And one of the things he's retained for all of his 94 years of life is library card from the Loveland Public Library. When we were stationed in Egypt, one of the trips I chose to take was the library at Alexandria, one of the wonders of the world. We have an incredible library system. The reputation of the Pikes Peak Library District used to be one of the foremost in all of the United States because we had the Mills as a taxpayer-funded library district. We grew with the city. I don't know when it became your intention to close libraries to open new ones rather than just adding new ones. It doesn't need to be one or the other. It needs to be both. I was looking at quotes about libraries before I've told you about Benjamin Franklin saying, one of the reasons behind the public library is a public library enables the discourse of farmers to reach that of gentlemen in other nations. A public library is a source of knowledge and it's free. That would actually be another question in the lawsuit. We found out that Pikes Peak Library District's FOIA requests, the hourly rate is higher than the city of Colorado Springs and El Paso County. How ironic is it that the highest FOIA in El Paso County is from the library where I always thought we went to get information free. We went to expand our minds. We went to learn more. Thank you for your time. I hope you continue to work to improve the library system. And I'm wondering where Aaron Salt is yet again, missing a board meeting. Thank you.
The next 3 public comment signups are Carla Powers, Veronica Baker, and Dan Sotorez. Or Sotorez, probably, I apologize. Okay, Sotorez. Carla, Veronica, and Dan.
Well, here I am again, you guys. I appreciate you guys, your hard work that you've been doing on this all this time. I know that this is easy. It sure hasn't been easy for me. I did not choose to be doing this. I know that you guys volunteered to do this. It's been a lot of time. It's turned my life upside down. And I think we're both working really hard on this. The things that I wanted to talk about this time, I want to talk to Aaron, but he's not here. He seems to be the spearhead for looking towards another reopening of Rockrimmon Library, a Northwest library in our area. I'd really like to know, I don't know, we've got Nancy here, so it's good. But we just really want to know what the plan is for our Northwest area. We've tried to we've opened an interim library now. It's not easy. Opening a library is hard work. You guys, I take my hat off for all the work that you do for all these things. This is not easy work. It was not easy for us either, but we're spending our private donors' money to keep some semblance of community, keep the pause to read, the toddler time, the storytelling, the senior programs, the yoga that we have in our area, all these programs that are important to us, crafts, to have them still there in our Northwest area. I would really like to hand this off to you guys again. There's no reason we shouldn't be doing this. When we come to your meetings, we hear about the money that's been found in the budget, the extra money that's in the budget, in the millions. And here we are struggling to maintain something in our area. Please, let's do what Alan said. Let's put together a committee and let's work together and see what we can figure out for our area. We really want to work with you guys and see if we can figure out something here. Okay, I appreciate what Aaron has said multiple times, well, 2 times that we have on record, that that you guys are looking to do something in the Northwest area. And we will help you spearhead that and move that forward if you'll just let us. But letting it sit and stagnate, you just have no idea the bad feelings that are in the Northwest area. It comes out in the votes. So please, let's just work together on this and let's move forward instead of lean backwards. Thank you.
Been here together in this arrangement for quite a while, and I think it's time we reviewed our greatest hits, or rather your greatest misses. In 2023, PPLD started collecting data for their surveys. One of our residents said it best when she stated, "Did people really know that by indicating a strong preference for functional and flexible outdoor spaces, creative and STEM-related tools and quiet spaces, those items might come at the expense of whole library collections?" Clearly, patrons answered survey questions, but their responses were misrepresented and used as justification to close a beloved community library. In March of 2024, the facility master plan consultant meets with community leaders. Again, no mention of closing libraries. In June of 2024, the draft of the facilities master plan was released, listing options to close libraries. Communities write a flurry of emails to the Board of Trustees, send in letters to the editor, and make numerous public comments. We were told not to worry. It's only a worst case scenario mentioned on a preliminary report. Oh, also in June, the consultant relays to the Board of Trustees that additional user analysis and financial analysis needs to be undertaken before any big decisions are made. In September 2024, PPLD releases a draft of the 2025 budget, and Rock Rimmon is still in it. In October, the Board of Trustees shocks and blindsides the community when Dora reads from a typed statement the reasons for not renewing the Rock Rimmon lease. The minutes reflect telling if abrupt sentiments expressed by Trustee Debbie English. Debbie disagrees. 3 options in the facilities master plan were closures within 3 years. Look for funding and super funding. 3 years not being honored. Feels a process needs to play out with this. Options presented tonight and before could allow for us to have time. Sign 1-year lease. Discussion on being unable to serve the whole county. Does not like being pitted against one side of town against another. Care about all. Pause for a year. Negotiate a 1-year lease. Decide over that year how to proceed and look for ways to serve the east side of the county. Trustee Scott Taylor agreed, and I really wish some others of you would have kept an open mind too. In December 2024, the Board of Trustees decided to re-vote on the Rock Rimmon lease. Before they voted, we made public comments stating that we had secured over 100+ hours of community volunteers to help out with staff shortages. Dora, we clearly remember you telling us, "Would you trust your business with a volunteer?" This statement coming from a volunteer serving on a library board is not only ironic, it's absolutely shocking. As one person put it, this decision has reverberated far off of your spreadsheets. And I can sense that you're tired of us coming to these meetings speaking about Rock Rimmon Library, and trust me when I tell you, this has been a wearisome and worthy commitment we've undertaken. The truth is, and I'm about to summon an Alanis Morissette lyric here, we're here to remind you of the mess you made.
Yeah.
Hi, maybe I'm a fresh face. I'm Dr. Dan Satiris. I'm an allergy specialist in town physician. My practice is just right up the street, actually. I appreciate all of y'all's comments. I agree with you, and I appreciate the board taking time.
I'm here to voice my support for libraries in general. I have 2 stories and 1 other statement. First off, personal story. Early in my career, I was known as an innovator in food allergy and food sensitivities. The parents had so many complex questions about their child's allergies, so much worry, hard questions, nuanced answers. And there was no way to address this in clinic. So we created a support group, and the support group met at Rockford. For several years, I volunteered my time monthly. Somebody committed made the commitment to reserve the room, and we met there regularly. We used the opportunity, I used the opportunity to learn from them, and they learned from me. It was a wonderful environment, and I enjoyed that greatly. Another more personal story, my wife is also a physician. So early on when our kids were young, I had Monday off, she had Tuesday off. The joke in I had Friday off. The joke in my office was Tuesday was my easiest day of the week because Monday was so hard when I was alone with kids. And what did I do? We would go to the library. A cool, comfortable space where we learned to get away from screens, to enjoy each other's time, and to enjoy books. All that in the library. The third thing is to just remind the group, and I appreciate the New Testament reference there. I would like to remind the board and maybe members of the audience, really the Bible is a library. It is a collection of books written by different authors, multiple genres, different voices to be heard. You cannot read the Bible without understanding other literature and using that. Thank you so much. 1 minute to go. So I would just like to leave on that statement that Bible is a library, and these libraries should be considered hallowed ground as well. Thank you, board.
The final 2 signups are Harry Mangles and Jacob Ward.
Hi, I don't have anything prepared. I'm just here to support my friends who work at the library, as well as the people who live in this community. I grew up with libraries as well. They've provided tremendous resources for my daughter to be able to have story time, help my homeless friends get their resources. And I just want to make sure that our libraries are being properly funded. The closures of Rockford, I think, is disgusting, and I would like to see more funding being used to help our community. The libraries belong to us. They're part of our community, and we don't want them to. Thank you.
Free hand this like an open mic. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Jacob Ward. I am the president of Pikes Library Workers United, our workers union here, as many of you know at this point. So talking about the heat, it's kind of hot in here, right? This has been a problem we're dealing with for over 6 weeks now. Last Saturday, a coworker of mine fainted, knocked her head. She has a bruise on her face now. And also we closed the building early due to HVAC issues. Let me go to the things I've actually written down. At last check, it was 80 degrees over about in the workroom, and it's actually right now 85 degrees in the teen area, which is just unfair to the teens. It was also 85 in the story time room during a program a few weeks ago as well, where there are babies. So, yeah, I myself have called out. I've probably used about 4 hours of PTO at this point just because of the heat. So though we're not bound by OSHA's standards, it's worth noting that OSHA recommends a maintained temperature in the range of 68 to 76 degrees Fahrenheit. The Colorado Department of Labor and Employment actually has a rule for heat for agricultural workers that's at 80 degrees and above, and we've been at 80 degrees and above working indoors in an office setting, not in a field. So talking regulations, we're in a unique position. The district has a level of self-determination over safety precautions. We don't follow the ones I just stated. Our current guidelines state that if a building is below 60 degrees or above 90 degrees for 3 hours, that lets us close. At that point, there's hospital visits. for some of my coworkers, especially those with pre-existing conditions. So I'm here with two demands. One is to rework that policy. 90 degrees is unreasonable and 60 degrees is unreasonable. We need the threshold to change. The guide needs to be changed to match that of OSHA recommendations, about 68 to 76 degrees within a building. Thank you. The second demand is an alteration to how paid time off works for unexpected closures. Right now, I called off 30 minutes before the unexpected closure on Saturday. Therefore, the last 3 hours of the day, I used my personal paid time off. 2.5 of those hours were closure due to building conditions. So I'm using my own PTO, and I have to, according to policy, use that when an unexpected closure is called. I called out for the same reason the building was closed. Over 2/3 of the staff on Saturday went home early due to the heat. Yeah, so in clear terms, if a worker calls off or leaves early due to an issue that ends up closing the building, such as snow or heat, they should be compensated for the PTO used during those unexpected closure hours. Yeah, we need to be taken care of. You're responsible for the safe working conditions, and it really is an issue of basic respect and safety for people who work within this building. So, thank you.
All right, we'll move to presentations. Thank you everyone who commented, and we will move to the Communications Department 2024 recap by Denise Abbott.
She definitely going for her own notes and stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right in the lap. Yeah.
How's everyone doing tonight?
I think it's hard to hear.
Well, can you not hear me? First, I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to take some time today to talk about the communications department. Earlier this year, I was talking to leadership about the data that we received from 2024. And as we went through it, I was just offhandedly saying, oh, that was a program we did. Oh, yeah, we contributed to that. Oh yeah, we came up with that idea that everybody was wanting to kill us about because there's so much work. And both of us at the same time just said, why don't you do a presentation at the board meeting to let everybody know what the communications department really does, and to introduce all the wonderful people that do a lot of work in our department to make PPLD, as the title says, come to life through communications. So here I am. First, the communications department encompasses all of these different areas, and the people who work in those areas are here tonight. For audiovisual services, we have Logan Puente. Logan, please identify yourself, stand up. We all know him, he's out of our meetings. And then we have our graphic design team that's made up of Rachel Quinn and Beth Brady. Now, our community partnerships and outreach coordinator is not here today, but her name is Kim Melkor, does a great job for us. Our patron experience manager is also out on vacation. That's Abby Simpson. And then we have the public relations and marketing manager, Carla Bamesberger. Our project management coordinator, Adere Del Toro Garcia. She and Abby work together also on signage, both interior and exterior, as well as all the other projects throughout the district. And then we have our video production, shall I say team? No, person. Drew Serino. But we do have a website management team, and that's Clint Hager and Cheryl Howard. And then the promotional programming that we do throughout the district is the entire team, because we all work together on that. And then last but definitely not least, and she should have been put at the top, is the wonderful woman that keeps us all together,
We nicknamed her Mama J because she's just that to us. Jennifer Flatland, we couldn't do it. So as we started looking over our highlights for 2024, these are some of the areas in which either PPLD contributed or we were the ones that actually did the program. And we've got the Winter Adult Reading Program, open houses during National Library Week, Summer Adventure Reading Program, Library Card Sign Up Month, all Pikes Peak Reads we're going to go through, and I'll be giving you details about each one of these as we do it. But all of the work the graphics team does, our community outreach successes, and then accessibility spaces and services. We've been working very hard to make our locations accessible for our patrons with different abilities, and then website accessibility. We started off the year in 2024 with the Winter Adult Reading Program. It took place from February to March, and we ended up with the most registrations every single year since 2021 when we started doing advertising campaigns for them. We really started thinking about the target audience and where these individuals live, not physically in their address, but where they live their lives. Where are they on TV? Where are they in digital media? And we definitely created marketing campaigns and advertising campaigns that met them there. And I'm happy to say that each year since we started doing the advertising, we've had increases each month. And I added the 2025 because it just finished on March 31st. And as you can see, once again, broke another record. We broke a record in 2022. That was the most they ever had. And so every year the participation has increased because people love this program. Then it was National Library Week, the first full week of April. And I see some people smiling because they remember the experience. 8 open houses in 7 days across the library district, 2 hours in each location. And in those 2 hours in each location, we saw 5,000 people come through our doors. There were people that said, I didn't even know East had a second floor. Thank you for doing this. I usually just go to the children's area for story time. So it was an opportunity for people to come in and visit our libraries and walk through and take tours and learn more about what we have to offer. And during that time, we received 615 new library cards. As you can see, 100% increase over the same time the year before from doing this open house. One of the different marketing tactics we used was to send a mailer, which we haven't typically used. And we sent it out to about 10,000 individuals in zip codes that we felt could really use it, and we wanted to invite them into the library district. And when we did a cross-reference on the number of library cards and the zip codes where they came from, about 300 of them came from those areas. So we were very excited about that. We did a lot of community outreach in our marketing. We got the locations to reach out to their partners in there, maybe strip malls or businesses in the area. And they gave us a lot of entertainment, a lot of donated food and activities for those things. So it was really a community engagement and community activity and campaign. And then, of course, there was Summer Adventure. And I know you had a presentation about this earlier, or actually last year when it ended. But one of the things that the communications department really contributed to and wanted to push was the fact that we wanted to represent Olympic City, USA in the year of Paris Summer Olympics. We wanted to make it relevant to the community. So we created these wonderful characters that were on a sticker sheet, and I'm telling you, people were putting them, they were bidding for them. Hey, what that sticker sheet? They ran out, everybody loved it because the characters were so cute and very inclusive, as you can see. So we really created a lot of Olympic stuff and references through this program. 265 pieces of collateral were created by the graphics team to support this program. We also had 80 donated grand prizes. That's what the community partnership and outreach coordinator does, is go out and get those donations. And then because our Ziggy card had done so well the prior year, the Olympic Museum reached out to us and said, hey, can you do one for us? So we decided to do a limited edition library card with a Leroy Neiman photo on it, or our piece on it. And that anybody who received that library card during the 2 months of June and July, if they went to the museum, their children were able to get it for free. So it was a very good partnership with the community. We even got volunteers to come and kick off summer adventure with us on the registration day. So it's a great way for us to engage with the community, and the community was there to support us. And here are some of the results. As you saw, we had a 27% increase in participation last year because we added adults to celebrate that 50th anniversary of summer adventure. 18,304 people participated. As you can see, 25% of them were adults. And we just barely said, oh, adults can participate too. We didn't even try to market to them, and they were waiting for this. And completion rate increase was something that the programming department really wanted. And last year, the completion rate increased 37%, just from all the hype throughout the entire district and the way the community came together to support the program. Technical difficulties. Put me and technology together, it just doesn't work.
Well, what's great is that everybody share the sound.
Instead of the right one, we just click on. Okay. Then, of course, every year, September is library card sign up month. And 2 years ago, maybe, let's see, 2022, we decided, let's do a campaign to drive children getting their library cards and everything. And we had a lot of fun with that. We had a large increase in the number of children that received library cards during that month. Then last year, we tried to let people know how the library can satisfy their dreams. This year, we wanted to do something big because I wanted to kick off a year-long library campaign, library card sign-up campaign. And Carla came up with this wonderful idea of, why don't we do something about you belong at the library? We thought it was the best thing ever. We came up with different groups, as you can see, the foodies, the gamers, crafters, entrepreneurs, musicians, seniors, teens, and we created graphics that were targeting those individuals. And we then created marketing campaigns that targeted those individuals. And we asked the community, hey, can you help us reach a goal of about 3,000 library cards? Because we average about 2,300 to 2,400 library cards a month anyway. So they said 3,000, and I went, sure, we can do more than that, but I'll be okay with that. Within 2 weeks, we had 3,000 new library cards, within 2 weeks. So then we said, well, help us break a record, see how many we can get. And as you can see, we ended up with 5,099 new library cards in that month. That's renewals and actual new library cards. And the actual new library card registration is higher than they've ever had in a month. And then it kicked off the year-long campaign in that now we have picked a group each month that we target very strenuously through social media and through digital marketing. And I looked at some numbers that Colleen Medling sent me a couple of days ago. We have a 9% increase in library cards, new library cards this year already by doing this new campaign over 2024. So I'm really excited. It was very good. Then, of course, we had all Pikes Peak reads. Now, we can't take all the credit here because they selected programming, a wonderful title from a local author. And we set up the registrations, and all of a sudden it was full, and there were so many people getting on the waiting list. And we didn't know what we were going to do. Could we have an overflow? What could we do? And at the last second, we decided to add a second presentation because the lady said she would speak twice. And so I think Carla was left with like just mere days to try to get social media out and get the word out, and that also built to capacity. So we had 2 completely filled presentations that day, and everybody loved it. And it was us working with the programming department to make sure we get the word out in the right way to draw those people into the library. Then there was a little thing called the library card design contest. Greg Rose, who orders our library cards, talks to me occasionally every year, and he says, hey, do you want to order, make a new design? And he always comes up with, I'm sending them out next week. And I'm like, Greg, I need time. Can't do that. So what we decided to do was, why don't we do something 6 months from now, order just a few of the old ones, and we'll come up with a library card campaign so we can have a design contest. And we started planning that last year, thinking about what we were going to do. And I even said to our graphic designers, I don't know how people are gonna take this, get ready to make a couple of cards because we might not get enough submissions. And the first day, the project manager came to me and said, you don't have to worry about it, we already have 50. So I was like, oh, this is great. So as you can see, we ended up with 814 submissions. We announced the winners last week. And I discovered just before the meeting, somebody sent me the numbers, 762 new cards and renewals. So I think 250 of those were new cards actually in that week. But it also engaged the community and had them coming in to get replacement cards because they wanted the new designs. And the giraffe was the most popular card. And I didn't put it on here. I'm so sorry. If you haven't seen it, it is so much fun. And then the second most popular card is the Take Me to Your Reader. That's the black and white card there. And Carla raised her hand because apparently I've forgotten some really important. Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to add that those numbers are only taking into account the new card designs. So that's not taking into account any card users who decided on taking on the old designs.
And that was only during the 7 days of that week. We haven't even done the rest of the month yet. The event was great. People were really engaged and it just really brought the community together. You should have seen it. I mean, as you can see, Centennial Elementary School, the entire school did a contest and submitted 53 of their best cards to the campaign. And then one of the classes at UCCS actually took class time to design cards. That's how much the community was involved in this program. That just came from a quick little conversation with Greg. Well, important to any type of marketing campaign, of course, is video. We use it on TV broadcasts. We use it in social media. We put it on the website. There's training videos. We film some of our events and we put them on PPLD TV. So I want you to experience a clip of some of the videos that we do. You don't have to listen to me. Breaking it up. Here we go.
Meet the new you. Learn a new language, read more, see more, do more, live more.
I've heard so much about the Power Pass. Tell me, Melody, what is the Power Pass?
So Pikes Peak Library District, our children's areas are designed as a safe place for young children to develop and learn. We always look forward to coming here.
There's one place in your neighborhood where you can leave your wallet at home and still hang out and do cool things. With 15 locations all around town, your library offers fun classes.
That for me as a kid was one of the fun things about doing a summer reading program.
Moving down over here on how to change the hand sanitizer.
Looking for something fun to do with your family now that school's out? Go for the gold with Pikes Peak Library District's Summer Adventure Reading Program.
And I have to tell you that my whole mama heart.
Read cool books and win awesome prizes with PPLD's Winter Adult Reading Program.
Welcome to Storytime. My name is Krista.
So, I am the Soul Food Scholar.
In the depths of time, I lost a part of me, a treasure forgotten but hard to see.
There's no better place to instill a lifelong love of reading. Kids of any age can get their own library card. It's one of the greatest gifts you can.
We can all get along if we know that we're wrestling with ideas and not people.
A library card can help you discover a passion you never knew you had. So shake things up, get out of your comfort zone, and try something exciting and new. No matter who you are, Pikes Peak Library District is where you belong. Visit ppld.org to get your free library card today.
Thanks for in there. Then, of course, we have community partnerships and outreach. Now, this is very important because it helps, outreach definitely helps us reach those untapped audiences and people that are unfamiliar with the library. Last year, we did 143 outreaches. reaching about over 142,000 individuals at those outreaches. At the top, you see a few of those named, but some notable ones are Comic-Con, and I know a lot of people go, why in the world are you at Comic-Con? But Comic-Con has asked us to be their Kids Con area, and for the last 4 years we've been there. And we're engaging a lot of young people, not only children, but young adults coming in, and even adults, because they love the green screen. We, graphic designers, create beautiful backgrounds where they can go and sit in front of the green screen, pick the background they want, and get a picture. We get their email address. So now we can market to them, and we send that to them afterwards, and they really enjoy it. So, I mean, each year the Comic-Con, the head of Comic-Con calls us up and says, are you in? Are you in? And we just registered for this year as well. So it's a 3-day activity. And we have a lot of fun there. And then Switchbacks. I know the sponsorship person there, and he wanted to work with us and said, you know, what can we do? And I said, I want to reach kids so I can get summer adventure signups. What can we do? And they have a Ziggy Kids Club. So we became a sponsor of that club. When we get our TV commercial aired through the games, at the games, we get outreaches there. And as you can see through one of the outreaches we did, we signed up 120 children for summer adventure last year. Additionally, we have our Culture Pass partners. There are 12 Culture Pass partners now, and this is a program that allows people to use their library card to visit some of the attractions in Colorado. And as you can see, there's a few of them listed there. Last year, we issued 3,300 Culture Passes in 2024. So the program is doing very well. And for partnerships, we partner with a lot of different individuals and organizations in the community to come in and do presentations for our programming events. And as you can see here, the AARP Foundation Tax Aid in Vida does tax returns. They were they probably just finished yesterday or a couple of days ago. Last year, they did nearly 1,700 tax returns for people in the library. It's a very popular program and service that we offer. From a multicultural and outreach perspective, it's the same reason, reaching out to those areas of our community that may not know about the library. And so we had individuals as part of, we have memberships in all of these organizations. And we go there and tell people about the library, what the programs are, the fact that they can use our meeting rooms for meetings. And some of them have already started using our meeting rooms. We go there and sign up people for summer adventure and for library cards. And so it's very important that we do reach out to them, because one of the programs, let's see, make sure I get the name right, Indian Community of Colorado Springs has an event in November called Diwali. It's a cultural festival that they put on, and they decided to make PPLD the recipient of the proceeds. So we received $20,000 last year to go toward sensory kits for the children's area at each library. Now, throughout this entire campaign, you've seen a lot of graphics. And I have to tell you that the graphic design team did those and many, many more. As you can see, we received 1,576 marketing requests. That's just a request for, hey, I need graphics. Each of those requests usually has at least five elements to them, sometimes more depending on how large the program is. So multiply that number by at least 5, and that's how many things they work on throughout a year, and that's just designing them from scratch. Then we have the Canva approvals. Now, Canva is a software that they can go in and people can fill a template with design so that they can promote an event at their location. The graphic design team approved over 1,094 Canva submissions. Beth is sitting back there because Beth is new, and she just started in February, and her face is like, oh my God, because it's a lot. It's a lot that they do. And so we want to make sure that you all have patience with them when they're doing your graphic designs. They are working very hard to make them happen. And accessibility has been a big thing in society, in the news, everything lately. So we've been trying to make our locations more accessible and all of our programs and services accessible to the community. We are creating assistive technology rooms in our 3 large locations, and they have things like hearing loops and portable reading cameras and tracking speaking software so the computer can speak to you so that people can enjoy our services. Then we have accessibility bins that are at each one of the desks at the library. People can walk up, and if they need to get a special keyboard or an adaptive mouse the tracker, headphones, or a magnifying glass, they can get those because they are at the desk. And we have signs that say, if you need any accessibility tools, please see us and we can get those for you. And because it's so important, we started doing training for the staff to make sure that we know how to, or we refined our training for the staff and improved it. We want to make sure that our staff knows how to give customer service to these individuals in the proper way. We're making all of our new hires go through this training. And we are having staff do it at least once a year to make sure that we're up on all of the changes. And then, of course, everyone remembers HB 21-1110. We were talking about it for years and how all of your digital items needed to be, oh my God, accessible by June 30th last year. So while the web team was working on a new website and making it accessible, they had to make our old website accessible. That meant going through every single page, looking at all the PDFs, and then designing a new website and weeding out all the pages we didn't need, and then making it accessible as well. So they were just buried in all of that work and had their heads to the noses to the grindstone getting that done. And if you've seen the new website, which launched on January 13th, you know that they did a very good job. Thank you. And then there's the media coverage. So in 2024, we had 1,649 stories and 31 successful pitches. Carla and I reach out to the media, pitch those individuals. We actually facilitate all of those interviews that take place to cover all of that. It's just some of the outlets that we work with. And then Carla manages the social media. And as you can see, she did 515 Facebook posts. You can see the tweets, the number of Instagram posts and stories that she did, LinkedIn posts, and Nextdoor. And she decided to change the strategy from 2023 to 2024 because she was putting up so many posts. And she said, there's got to be a better way. So we realized that people like photos and videos more than they do graphics in most cases. So we started doing more photos, more videos, and compiling, instead of one post that talked about an activity, we have the, what is it? Video or program roundup? Programming roundup that she does and talks about all of our programs. She's doing less work as far as social media is concerned, but she has not lost the engagement. In fact, it has stayed steady and increased without having to do as much work. So working smarter, not harder. What are we doing in 2025? I promise you just one more slide. We're going to show the value of PPLD to the community, and we're going to take part in telling the PPLD story. Carla and I have already talked about some stories that we want to put together and get out to try to explain things to the community, make sure that they understand what's going on. We don't need to wait for the media to tell us those stories. We can do it ourselves, and so those will be appearing on our website. We are also focusing on library card signups through the entire year, not only the campaign that we are running, but other ways that we can reach out to the community and get more people engaged and registered to participate and visit our library. Then we're going to be creating videos to make PPLD's processes more understandable and transparent to the community. We put a lot of stuff on our website, but a lot of times people consume information in different ways. So we're thinking if we put a video together, they may be able to understand some of the processes like the budget and our facilities master plans and things of that nature. And then we're going to redouble our focus on data to make sure that they're driving our marketing strategies and the things that we do so that we're making smart decisions and not just decisions because of our emotions. And then, of course, we're working smarter, not harder. We've already met with the programming department and started talking about how can we create better programs that are more effective instead of doing a million of them, but bringing in a lot of individuals and promoting them really well so that we can really engage our community. And we'll be doing that throughout the entire district with the different departments. And that's it. I want to thank you so much for giving me your time. I appreciate you listening. Thanks.
Does the board have any questions for Denise? Denise is on. Okay, then we'll move to board reports. I know Salt and Angela Dugan are joining us online, so we'll turn dates online when we get to that point. But first, Internal Affairs Committee, Erin Vince.
Yes, we did meet. And we did discuss quite a few policies. sent some back through and we're gonna look at those tonight. I believe some, right? And then some need some tweaking, so we'll see those later on and then. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel like it's quiet in here. Usually we have a bigger echo. Okay.
We'll get the
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, that's a good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay.
There I am. Yes, Internal Affairs did meet this month. We basically just looked at quite a few different policies. Some of which we're gonna look at tonight, some of which went back for editing. And we'll see at a later date. And then we also had an executive session. And that was it.
All right, thank you. And public affairs, Mr. Beamish.
We did meet and we got a sneak peek or a little teaser comment about the presentation that you just saw from Denise. And I would like to say that it is my privilege to work with Denise every month on the Public Affairs Committee. And the woman's brain never turns off, ever. And so I think it's wonderful when other people get to see how hard people work at PPLD to bring services and information and good communication. People are amazing here. That's just what I would say. Also, in public affairs, we did talk about Denise and her team are willing to do some media training for members of the board. So I would like to know from you guys how you would like to set that up. If you want it part of a board retreat, if you want it during committee times, if you'd rather set aside some special time so that we can start working on that. Media training is not just about looking good on TV or sounding good on the radio. It's learning how to effectively communicate what you need to say in a way that people understand and can hear. And so that's why I think it's really important for all of us to be able to do that. So thank you, Denise, for that offer.
And then, thank you so much, Debbie. And we'll go to Angela Dugan, Governance Committee report. And Angela's online.
Thank you so much. Yes, the governance did meet. We went over many of the bylaws as per we're supposed to do every 2 years. We're really looking at a deeper dive at some things that have changed and, really overviewed a lot of the topics. One of the big topics, of course, is, the new trustee. And we are looking to the county and city. They are bringing up their processes and we will respond to that, as well as looking at, in the past, the board only met every other month. We are meeting at 12. And with, current culture, the ability and accessibility to remote, as I am today, thank you, after having a little bit of a little dermatology procedure, I appreciate being able to still fully participate and engage while being able to heal at home. So I thank you. But we're looking at some of those types of situations and really going through. And yes, Debbie, just as you talked about, we are looking at dates. I believe they've already been sent out of possible participation for the retreat, as well as setting that up. So we have met, and I promise we'll meet every month because we got lots to do.
Thank you, Ms. Dugan. All right, we will now move to liaison comments. I see we have at least one.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Hinton. I'm the City Council Representative for District 5 for the City of Colorado Springs City Council. And first and foremost, I want to say, Takaya, are you still in the room? I'm over here. Takia. I apologize for mispronouncing it. Congratulations on your second phase completing. I have to tell you, when I walked in today, the East entrance, I was overcome by welcome. It was really, really welcoming. So thank you for that. And I also just have to tell you that this library is the library closest to where I live and has been my library for 35 years now. I brought my kids here who are now almost 30 and almost 33. And my daughter, who's 30, is moving back this summer with her 2 grandkids. I brought my kids here. And I will be bringing my grandkids here, and I'm very, very excited. So they've been here already, but I'm excited for them to experience the shift. So thank you, congratulations. So actually yesterday, City Council swore in 6 district members. And we yesterday also elected our new leadership of the council and president and president pro tem. So those 6 new city council members are Tom Bailey in District 1. Excuse me, oh my gosh, Dave Donaldson in District 1, sorry Dave. Tom Bailey for District 2, Brandy Williams for District 3, Kimberly Gold for District 4. I was reelected for District 5, and for District 6 is Roland Rainey. And the 3 at large who remain are Lynette Crow-Iverson, Brian Risley, and Dave Lineweber. We elected yesterday on a unanimous 9-0 vote, Lynette Crow-Iverson as the president and Brian Risley as the pro tem. So that's my news for you from City Council. What I cannot tell you right now is who the 2 liaisons will be going forward. That decision is made by the president and should be made within the next week or so, I believe. We're just in that process of transition. I will be asking to be liaison again, but I can't, I don't get to make that decision. So we'll see how that goes. In relationship to the fact that Dora is still sitting here, and thank you, Dora, for your ongoing service to the library board. I wish I could give you more information than I did last month, but I have absolutely no more information to give you. I've had no communication with county commissioners at all. I don't know what's happening with, I believe they actually have had some interviews, but there's been no communication between city council and the county commissioners in terms of having a process of deliberating on replacement for Dora's open position. So sorry, Dora. And I actually don't remember what the board of what the bylaws say. I don't know if Angela, since she's been looking at them, has them off the top of her head. How long, maybe you know, Dora, how long you can stay in this position before we have to make a decision? Do you happen to know?
I believe it's an agreement with the board member to continue until a new board member is.
Just, there's no timeline on that, so until.
Exactly.
No timeline according to the bylaws. It's just as long as the person can continue, they will continue.
That might be something you might look at in your bylaw revision. I would think just for anybody going forward, that's not necessarily, I mean, that's something for you all to decide. Which actually brings me to just a reminder about the liaison's role with this board. Our role is really to appoint and if necessary, remove members from this board of trustees. The governance, the decision, the budget, you are the trustees for this library district. And that is clearly clearly your role. So with that, and I came last week and I asked a number of questions and, you know, I think I was hoping for a conversation, but I don't necessarily know that that's how this works or is going to work or maybe is even appropriate to work. But I do still have a number of questions that as somebody who right now is one of 14 who appoints and removes board members, I have some questions that I think myself and other liaisons would be interested in hearing your answer to, but more importantly, your patrons are very interested in hearing you all discuss at some point in a public meeting. And so I would very much appreciate it if you would take some notes because I have some questions that I think the public deserves to have answers to. I'm an elected official. People, when they write to me, I feel an obligation to respond to them. I am their representative and they deserve that response. They know how to get a hold of me and, you know, and then they'll reelect or not, depending on how responsive we are. The Board of Trustees, the way it was set up a very long time ago, you're appointed, you're not elected. And so you can set your own policies about how you engage with the public. And that's actually one of the questions I have for you is I noticed that I think, and I don't know how recently it was, I think in the last few months, there's a change in the process on the website. When you go to contact a Board of Trustees, there used to be an email for each board member. And now there's just simply one page with here's my name and here's my question, and it goes into a box and you hit send and you don't know where it goes. So I think a question is, why did you change that process? What happens with that information when it's received? Who screens it? Who responds to it? How is that handled? Again, I don't expect you to answer this right here, right now, but I think that's a really fair question for a board who's responsible for such a significant budget. And as a liaison who appoints you, I need to know, I need to understand, and you're going through a governance process review and looking at your bylaws. I would really encourage you to take a look at your bylaws and what is your policy around communication with the public as a board. Also, I just noticed, and I've never thought about this before in all the meetings I've attended. At the beginning of our meetings, we have a process of roll call and excused or unexcused absences, who's here. And I noticed there was no roll call. And so I'm wondering, do you do a roll call? Is that something that would be appropriate for you to be doing for there to be notification about attendance and so forth? It would be helpful for the liaisons, again, who appoint you to really have good record of how you're serving as a board. So some other questions, and some of these have been raised by members of the community, but I'm also very curious about, which is what progress have you made on finding a facility for the Northwest? Not just the Rock Rimmon neighborhood, but for the Northwest of Colorado Springs. And at least my understanding has been, and I think it's been communicated, that you are working on something. But again, I don't think people are hearing what that is or where you're at with that. Even if you don't know where you're at, I think being able to say that to people and when will you have an answer, it just goes back to communication, Debbie, that you were talking about, the importance of communicating with the public. And the facilities master plan, I asked this last month as well. I'm just really curious about what are your priorities as a board? What is your strategy around local libraries, neighborhood libraries? You know, and I apologize if you have had some of these conversations publicly, because I have enough of my reports and meetings to attend. I don't listen to every single one of your meetings, but I just don't know where your priorities are at this point. Do you have a position? Is there a position that this board has on having local libraries in the district? And specifically to that point, I think, you know, I've started to hear, if I'm not mistaken, I think Cheyenne, the Cheyenne Library is the next one that's up with a lease. And so I think residents in that neighborhood are just starting to get nervous only because of what happened at Rock Rimmon. There may be nothing for them to be nervous about, but again, communication would be extremely helpful. I'm almost done. Oh, somebody here, by the way, brought up, well, I've heard this numerous times in the last many months, this about working with the community. And somebody brought up an idea about a task force. And again, I guess my question to you all as a board is, you have such a ready group of folks who are willing to work with you and turn the other cheek and be, they've been incredibly respectful and wanting to work with you. And just what would that look like for you to work with this community? You know, and I guess kind of finally, it's just, how does the public know that they're being heard? I don't feel heard by you all. I don't. Maybe some of that's on me. Maybe I need to be asking you out each to lunch and having individual conversations with you. But how do people know that they're being heard by you as a board? How do you demonstrate that in your public conversations? How do you demonstrate that in your communications? You have an amazing communications department for the library. That's for the programs. They do a phenomenal job. But what about this board that is responsible to lead this library? And I know you all care about the library. You wouldn't be doing this if you didn't. That is not a question for me. But it is, I got to thinking about this. It's like, I don't recall, and I've only been on council now starting my 5th year. But I don't think people were showing up to city council meetings to talk about the library, until November. They just weren't, because it's actually what happens here is not our responsibility. That is your responsibility. Our responsibility is to appoint you as leaders. And I want to be able to do that. Honestly, as I was listening to you thinking and hearing Aaron talk, I got to wondering, Aaron, maybe it would be helpful for you to request a meeting with the liaisons and to talk about what can we do to work together to support you as a board of trustees. I don't necessarily think you have felt supported by us since November. I have tried to be supportive of you. But intention and impact are very different things. So how can we work as the ultimate elected authority that are responsible for appointing you to manage these critical tax dollars that people are paying and the community services and all the services that the library provide? It's our responsibility to appoint you. So let's work together. I mean, at least work with myself if I'm still the liaison. I'm pretty sure Dave's gonna put his name in the hat for that position. Maybe we'll both be here, maybe it'll be 2 different people, I don't know. But let's look at this as an opportunity. Let's not be in a battle with each other, but let's look at how can we work together to help you be the best governors, the best trustees of this really fundamental resource for our community. I invite you to do that. Please reach out to me. Please communicate with your public. Thank you.
Councilmember Hendon and Jeremiah, do we have any liaisons online?
Not have any.
We do not. Okay. So now move to trustee comments concerning engagement with the district, so on the district's behalf. I'll start.
Thank you. I have been enjoying participating in the adult winter reading program. It's gotten me reading when I was kind of in a little bit of a slump, so I came to that. I think it's what I'm doing now. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think that I'm just gonna say, I think I'm done. But that was wonderful to get back involved with that. It's been a few years. I also had an exploratory conversation with Wayne Williams and John Weiss, just discussing potential future funding options and what that would look like. So just casual conversation there and just finding out more about opportunities in the community and how we might get creative in the future. Anyway, so that's my update. Would anyone else like to share?
I have not, I usually don't, but I do today. I wanted to say this ties in a little bit with Denise's presentation, which was awesome. Where are you, Denise? Oh, there you are, which was awesome, and thank you so much. I just renewed my library card today, and then I remembered that I want a new library card with one of the new designs. So I'll be running to High Prairie in the next couple of days to get that updated. And I'm pretty excited about that. And then I also wanted to say, I made this little note because you brought up, well, I think she left, you brought up Carla's name, but please tell her that I watch her all the time on social media. That she's always coming across my feed, and she's great, and I love watching her. She's my favorite, so that was all I have.
I had the opportunity to attend the Monument Branch 50th anniversary celebration on Saturday. And wow, it was just a bustling place and people were so happy and people were so excited to be there, and people love their bridges. We all know that. And it was a really wonderful day and a really great time, and I was very happy to be there.
I'll just make a comment on our report tonight, our packet. I want to thank, and I don't know who it goes to, but the graphics are awesome. To let us know how many rooms are being filled with folks in the community. That was just a great graphic. I always say that pictures speak a million words, so I thank you for that.
Julie?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to follow up on Erin's getting a new library card. Mine had been having some difficulties. I want to say thank you to the whole team. It is working fabulously now. I am thoroughly enjoying being able to digitally look at books and purchase them. Hopefully I can read them in the time limit that we have. But again, thank you to everyone, because I have no idea why it wasn't working, but thank you very much for getting it working. And it's beautiful. The artwork is so fun.
Great, thank you, Ms. Dugan. And Aaron.
He's online, but.
Okay, Aaron, do you have any comments?
I was just gonna say, Denise, I appreciate all the work that you and your team does. I know I've seen you guys running ragged around the district at different times. Just appreciate what all you do. I'm glad you're able to do this presentation. I thought it was well done and really reflects, you know, in small part, the amount of work that you and your team does. So appreciate everything you guys do. I thought your presentation was great, and that's all I have. Thank you.
We'll move on to the Friends of Pikes Peak Library District report. Ms. Ruby Jordan.
Good evening. So first, I'll start out with the great news. Once again, we broke our record. We keep breaking it. So we made about $2,400 since March. In this sale, we made $2,400. And so I always bring the numbers because you know I love numbers. So we sold 14,234 books and media. So DVDs, music, CDs. Okay. We always, when people check out, we ask if they will round up a donation. So we made a little over $500 in folks rounding up and everything. Bag Day is, I always look and go, there's nothing good left for Bag Day, the last day. I'm like, everything is picked over. People still love it. We sold 360 bags. And so on Bag Day made $2,445. You might also be curious about how many people visited. Now we have to admit that we did add an extra day. So I guess the 2,400 also be because of the extra day. And then, okay, to be totally transparent and truthful, we also increased the price of the hardcover books and the large paperbacks, the trade books, by 25 cents. So I guess that probably raised it up, but we still made more money than we did last time. So our attendance was 1,887 folks over those 4 days. Thursday, roughly the Thursday, Friday, and Sunday was about 400 folks. But on Saturday, you know, because you have the whole, there were close to 700 people who came through the doors on Saturday. And we really do appreciate, we have our favorite security person who always helps us for the book sale. I think she goes, okay, I can get first dibs on books that I want, but we love having her help us. So that's the good news. The second thing is we are now focused on our literary awards luncheon, which is going to be on June 8th. And we have two wonderful authors, actually 3 authors who we're going to honor. So the Frank Waters Award is going to Peter Heller, who is a local, a Denver person. And I've read, about 3-4 years ago, I said, probably read the winner's book. And I've already read 4 of his books. He's delightful, very easy, an easy to read author. And then the Golden Quill, which is for like local Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak area author is going to PJ and Peter Anderson, who wrote the book Cheyenne Mountain, and it's a history of Cheyenne Mountain and what over like 300-400 years and everything. Beautiful book and everything. And we will have books, as we always do, by the authors for sale at the event. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jordan. And now we'll move to the Pikes Peak Library District Foundation report by Courtney Julius.
She actually changed her name back to.
Like, okay, I was like, I'm not.
I know,
it's not.
No, it's not, yes, that's.
But thank you for coming.
Julie, good eye.
Hello, good evening. It's cooling down a little bit here, thank goodness. So April 1st was Library Giving Day. It wasn't just Election Day locally, it was also Library Giving Day. So I want to share some kind of more real-time updates with you. So that's why I'm up here and that's why I wasn't in the report. So as of today, we have 608 gifts. Of those, 34% are actually new donors that never given before. And the average gift amount was $62.12. But our largest gift so far has been $10,000. And I do want to report 3% of those are through the Enterprise Zone Giving Program. So those of you that are familiar with that tax credit, we do have a good number of folks that are taking advantage of that. So we'd like to see. And we've actually had a good number of recurring gifts. So that's gonna, assuming everything goes well, we don't have too many of them drop off, that's gonna be around almost $4,000 extra through the year, just in sort of passive sort of donations. But as of right now, the total, and I want to remind you, our goal is 40,000. The total that we have raised so far is $62,142. Any questions? You can still give for library giving.
Thanks. All right, thank you, Courtney. All right, we'll turn to the financial report. Randy Green.
Good evening, board. So you notice that this month has got February and March reporting. I'm not gonna spend time on February. I'm gonna go right to March, since it's year-to-date report. I did want to mention though, on February's numbers, we collected, in February is typically this way every year. That's when we get the highest received property tax revenue. And so it was about 12.5 million. And right now, as of March, we're at 16.3. And overall on our tax collections, which includes specific ownership taxes, which is registration on vehicles and stuff like that, we're at 43% roughly. If you slip down to the expenses, I'm looking at the PPLD as a whole sheet. We've spent about 3.3 million. That's basically what we average each month, and that's roughly 21% overall. So this is a trend that we see every year, and I've talked about it before, that we're gonna see, favorable numbers on our net impact to, fund balance during this time of year. Until revenues slow down a little bit, which is usually July or so, and then it starts going the other way. So I wanted to point that out off the top. The general fund, if you go to that page, is similar numbers on the percentage. Obviously, because it's our operating dollars, it's what we run the district off. About 43% of our total revenue has been collected. And then 23% of our expenditures overall have been spent over budget. The details on the expenditures, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. We're 3 months into the year, so the averaging on the budget is I try to pull things out of there that are for instance, in January, we'll pay insurance in January, it's for the whole year, so I don't want to spread that over 12 months. And so I try to pull things out that aren't going to spread over the whole year evenly. And we'll continue to do more work on that to have the variances coming in as true as possible. But overall, it's shown that we're underspent on our budget for 3 months worth of operations, about $1 million. Our capital projects fund, we are showing that we have booked expenditures of close to 500,000. Again, this does not include any kind of encumbrances that we've had in ordering stuff, getting it on a PO, and it just either hasn't been received or the bill hasn't been paid yet. And most of our vendors were on 30-day terms with most of them, but sometimes that's extended depending on the circumstances. So net impact is about $500,000, and that's going to adjust to next month. I'll bring a resolution to do the transfer from the operating fund over to the capital. And then last would be our self-insurance fund. The spending on that's generally like the first thing I'll look at, other than just to see if our contributions are where they should be. Property tax, again, this is based on 3 months in, it's based on trending from previous years. But the employee contributions, I try to keep a close eye on that to make sure that we're right where we thought we would be on that one. We're just a little bit ahead. So it's good. And spending on the actual claims, that would be on the personnel expenses line. We're actually a little below what we were anticipating, but the year's still young. And the budget reconciliation, that's just showing you when we have a resolution that you approve, I just keep track of it on the sheet to tie it back to what our numbers for the budget are being. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions from the trustees online? All right. Then we will go ahead.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Green. We'll go ahead and move to the public services report.
Oh,
Candace, yeah.
I'm taking.
I don't want to skip me. Could you see that?
I forgot for a second.
Well, as you see from the report, lots of cool things happening in public services, but before I highlight them, I really want to take an opportunity and thank Takia and her team.
for welcoming everybody to Penrose. Taki and I started our careers at PPLD here in this Penrose.
did too.
That was too
Some
long
other
ago.
people were.
Because we started almost at the exact same time. So, really proud and excited for those changes. So thank you for that. Any questions before I point out a couple of things? Okay, so one thing to note, we've made a change to one of our databases. We've offered now Simply Analytics, that is to replace Demographics Now. That information hasn't been updated for a while, and the vendor was sunsetting that, and so we found a different one, and Tara Ruff, our business librarian, is around and has been learning that new tool, and it's got some new features, so we're pretty excited to offer that. For spring break, programming did a whole theme for the week of spring break for the community around cool science. And they offered a number of programs, and we had over 830 participants throughout the district. So that was really nice. And then finally, coming up on Saturday here in this very room is the Jean Chavon Poetry Contest Award winners. So that'll be Saturday morning. You are all welcome to come and see that. It's really fun to see the middle schoolers get up and read their original work that they've created. So we're excited to host that again. Now we can.
To the sales. And are there any questions on support services, communications facilities, human resources, and IT safety, security, and strategy and innovation? All right. If there are no questions, we'll move to the CEO report.
Good evening, everyone. So as Dora mentioned, that in my report, you will see this amazing graphic, and I need to thank Becca Cruz and her team for providing that. So as you know, we have strategy and innovation department that their goal is to analyze our data and also communicate the data to the community and also help us to make decisions based on the data. So thank you, Becca, and please thank your team on all of our behalf. So I do have some very interesting conversations with our community members and patrons. I had a conversation with someone from the community. Her concern was if we were planning to cut our e-materials because she was looking at the state of Colorado and their budget. And as you may be aware, they're in deficit, $1.2 billion. So she was wondering how we get funded. And she wanted to make sure that particularly Canopy and Hoopla won't be going away. So we had a very good conversation, and another question she asked me, how can you get more funding from the community? What does it take? Who makes that decision? I did explain how it can be rather pricey to get on the ballot. When I told her it was about $500,000 just to get, it's roughly on the ballot. And also you need to have additional funds, right? Marketing and so forth. She did not realize it. Because I need to be honest with all of you, Board of Trustees, she was rather upset with all of you that you would not make that decision. And I did speak to her, explained how it works. She was wondering, when do you need to pay that money? I told her 50% of that 500,000, whatever it would be, we need to pay by September. I believe it's the 9th, I might be wrong. And then the rest of it after the 3rd of November, despite the outcome. So she thought that maybe if we do not get what we want from the community, we would get reimbursed. So I did explain to her that does not work like that. She also wanted to thank everyone in the Pikes Peak Library District for especially allowing her children have access to our e-materials. She's a working parent, and she also asked me if we are thinking anything about possible Sunday hours. So when I discussed with her and I said, we're looking at different ways, how we can ensure extending our hours without any additional ongoing costs. She did ask me, what does it mean? I explained that ongoing cost that would be more staff. So another request she had, and again, I said we're exploring it, we're looking at different ways. We understand that our community, they want our services to be available to them when they don't work. She was very appreciative. Also, she suggested that if she can do anything to spread a word, she would do that. So it was one of the many comments we receive. Unfortunately, it's very often. I think I failed to communicate those messages to you, and my apologies. So it was a very good call, and also she suggested, can we have a meeting and talk more about that, and wanting to thank for Canopy and Hoopline. She says she's telling all her friends who are parents that that's what they should do. So just wanting to share that and give her feedback to all of you. Also, as I mentioned, we do, or as you know, we love data, and in your packet, you will see 2024 PPLD statistics snapshot. So I did have meetings with Becca, Denise, Heather, I mean, a lot of people, because very often I come up with an idea and I said, we need to make it happen. And Becca did have very short period of time to make some adjustments. So if you look at us, at our community, right? We serve El Paso County and we have the legal service area. So we serve over 700,000 individuals. Out of those individuals, about 300,000 of them have active library cards. That's what actually it was from 2024. But also, when I was discussing some of the ideas with some of you, you gave me this idea, what about households in our county? That was amazing. When we started looking at households in El Paso County in our legal service area, 65.7% of households within our legal service area hold at least one active library card. And that all came up after the conversation I had, that even in my family, until my kids' school literally started demanding that my kids had PPLD library cards, I need to admit that, I was using my library card for them. And that was the idea came, we can actually compare individuals and households. So I believe that's a pretty healthy number that our community is utilizing our services. And other one that was fascinating for one of the anchors from KKTV, when I told them that last year, 170,000 individuals used our meeting room spaces that we have in our branches. And as always, Becca and her team did a great job. They're good librarians. They did their research. And roughly what we are estimating that we saved our community over $1 million. Again, that cost is based on median rental cost in our community. So as you see from our data from 2024, our community appreciate PPLD services, PPLD staff, and like Denise said, we do have goals to expand our reach and to reach those areas that some of them might not have a library card. So again, that's my report. And do you have any questions? Another part that I've been working with the communications department is that I will be providing chief CEO newsletter or report to the community quarterly. That will be on our website as well. We will be covering how we serve this community from internal perspective and also communicating with all of the elected officials as well.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
With the new ILS system, we're going to have the ability to really track more data, exactly, like how the people are using the rooms, but we'll also be ensuring that they are using their PPLD cards, because I think that is a missing factor that we are not capturing. Am I correct in that assumption?
We actually have made some of the changes, Angela, already. We are going to require library card. It's also not only new ILS system, but we will be looking at different reservation system possibly in the future, how to better capture that. We already made the change on our current one. And looking at other ways to also identify that. But yes, we will be requiring a library card.
Great, thank you, I appreciate that.
Sure, thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll move on then to business items. Are there any questions or discussions on any consent items? Then we'll go on to new business. Decision 25-4-1 budget policy. I think
Yeah, Kim will
be introducing that for us.
No, I'm just like, I'm in trouble last.
Want to make sure you're safe.
Good evening, board. I am here to ask for you to approve our budget policy. We did bring this to you guys in the internal affairs meeting and took your suggestions to kind of provide the information that the board feels should be in their purview. So as you can see, it follows the law with the Colorado State. We are also making sure that it goes to all funds and purchases within departments. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions on budget policy? If not, then I will go ahead and ask for someone to read the motion, please.
I move that the PPLD Board of Trustees approve the budget policy as presented.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Any discussion from trustees online? Okay. I'll go ahead and call for the vote on the budget policy. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the decision passes. We'll move on to decision 25-4-2 audit compliance policy. I think that's too good.
Come back over here, yes. My steps in today. Okay, so we are coming back to you with the audit policy. Again, we brought this to the Internal Affairs Committee. We can listen to your suggestions and kind of try to clear it up so the language matched what the board had given us. So if you have any questions on this policy itself.
I just have a quick question. Why did we take the, oh, sorry. Stand here so you can answer.
Yes, ma'am. So I was just wondering why we took the deadline out.
Changes, didn't change.
No, it did not, but we wanted to take it out so that if there is an issue where, you know, we've had something with the audit that's taken longer, we weren't held to that. It is a goal of the department to have it to the board by the end of June so that it does meet that. Welcome.
Thank you, Kim. So would then the kind of deadline guideline be more an administrative policy?
Correct. It would be within our internal policies.
And if I may.
That's why also we do have that CRS 29-1-1-101. Because that's what we are following, and also when it comes to requirements and standards annual budget. So as you may recall, if there is a possibility that if wherever a district needs to an extension, we come to the board and the board president can approve that. So also that's allowable within that. That's why. And again, I'm not giving any legal advice. I'm just stating that's what it is, so.
Any further questions for Kim? Not, then I'll ask for the motion.
I move that the Pikes Peak Library District Board of Trustees approve the audit compliance policy as presented.
Second.
Second. All right, any discussion on the audit compliance policy? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, and the motion passes. We'll go on to decision 25-4-3, reconsideration policy. I think Tiana is going to introduce that a little bit. If we have any more in-depth questions, we can go into executive session with council. It's not legal if we have in-depth questions, but Tana should be able to introduce.
Okay, so this is a reconsideration of library resource and use of library facilities policy, and as you may recall, that's also passed, I believe, last year, right, Tammy? So we worked with our legal counsel and also did some other research, and what you see here, mostly all of it is the language, how it is stated. Again, I believe that CRS 24-9122, and then also if you continue, like, that's why we have all of those parentheses and understanding. This is not, that's what the Pikes Peak Library, because what the idea is behind that, any decision that is made in public libraries should not be based on ideology. And that's why we're bringing it to you for your approval, since it falls under Board of Trustees as the governing body of the organization, and it requires a vote. So when you look at the process there, again, it's part of democracy. Every individual has a right to challenge a material in our collection, but there is a process, what we also see here. And this process, I know that very often our procedures belong to administration, but in particular case, that's what the that law requires, that it should be part of the policy. Any questions? And to answer that, because it says Board of Trustees at PPLD, and that's the president and vice president, I believe, that receive the email. So that's why also it's here, because if there is an appeal process, then it should go to the board. As you know, I always notify you if there is a challenge material. I always also let you know, and it's also including the board packet. But before, it did not require the board would comport. I'm using the language how it is stated there. In particular case, that's what the law requires. When I presented to you my final decision regarding that challenge, the board needs to comport that or confirm otherwise.
I do remember you I do remember you presenting those quite a few times. We haven't seen any in a while. Yeah. I assume because we haven't.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and there's certain when we receive, again, it takes time because it's also you see from here, we do have librarians assigned to review that item. The librarians, they don't know what is the reason why we are asking them. They do not see that form because we want to make sure it's an objective approach to that. I believe, I guess, a couple of years ago, I know Takia was part of that process as well. And then when I receive all of the feedback, I look at that, and particularly if there is another material that it's children material, I do read that as well, and do my own research as well. So I take, because we want to make sure that whatever decision we make, that's accurate. You can also go on our website, and we do have the challenge material titles. when that was challenged, the reason and then outcome. So it's also available on our website. And that's part of that. So when it and under this law, again, it's not a legal advice, I'm just interpreting, and also I did have conversations with our legal counsel, just I want to repeat it. I don't have any qualifications to provide any legal advice. So what happens that when I inform you as the Board of Trustees that we need to have a public notice, it should be on our website. And then if an individual wants to challenge the CEO's decision, that information is not protected under, I guess it's under Patron Privacy Act. So then that information also may become available to public. Also, I want to thank Tammy Sales a lot. She did a great job, reached out to other libraries, looked at other libraries as well. And since this law is only 1 year old, so we did our best to look at every other library in Colorado also. No further questions, I'll go ahead and ask for the motion.
I move that the Pikes Peak Library District Board of Trustees approve the reconsideration policy as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? We're hearing, do you have any discussion?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so then, if there's no discussion, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. All right. Any further discussion? We are invited, those of us who are here in person, on a tour of Penrose. Tiki is gonna take us around and show us some of the updates that have been done, so invite members of the board to attend that. Without objection, I'll go ahead and adjourn at 6:53 p.m.